this very critical discussion on why should boys have all the funds. The reason we are here today is despite the claims that we have made in the startup ecosystem, the reality is different. The reality is that there is still a little bit of funding disparity, there is systematic bias, and there is a drop in the economic potential where we can reach. Let's put some hard facts there. While we say that women-led startups deliver twice on the investment returns, the funding for them is still half than what goes to male-led startups. Just between 2022 and 2024, only 16% of the total VC funding in the Indian startup ecosystem went to startups that had one female co-founder. On an average, in 2024, funding for women startups dropped by 25% year on year, just reaching $1 billion. And this is not just about funding disparity or gender inequality. It is also about economic growth. Because as research has suggested that women-led businesses are more capital efficient. They can deliver 10% more on their revenues as compared to their male counterparts. If we grow women-led businesses, India can reach its GDP to nearly $770 billion by 2025. And women-led businesses have the capability of generating 2 million jobs just by 2030. So today we're not just here to restate these facts, but we are also here to discuss what is the way forward and how do we unlock the opportunities for women. And for that, we have a great panel sitting here. So before we dive into the conversation, I would quickly want you guys to give a quick introduction to the people here and tell us what are you individually doing to ensure that we are going the right path.
Hi everyone, I'm Ntasha. I am the co-founder and managing partner at Ankurit Capital. It's a SEBI-regulated Cat 1 fund. I have been in the startup ecosystem looking at investment profiles and investment opportunities in startups since 2015. Earlier, we were investing through our proprietary investment arm called Venture Gurukul. We used to mentor startups. We used to take them to China so that they could learn from successful counterparts over there. And then we've sort of seen some initial successes with some of our portfolios and launched the first institutional fund, which is Ankurit. Interestingly, I lead the fund along with Anki, so it's a completely women-led fund. And I'm really excited to be a part of this panel today. And thanks, Aishwarya, for putting those points together.
Hi, good morning, everyone. What a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Aishwarya, for starting off. I must congratulate whoever thought of the title of this panel. Was fantastic, very creative. Clearly, why should boys have all the fun and the funds, right? I'm Aarti Gupta. I head the family office of DM Gupta of the Jagran Group. I also belong to the family. I've been doing this for about 14 years. We're LPs in a number of funds. We also have an early stage investing fund called Anikarth Ventures, where we invest into innovative ideas. I head a startup initiative nationally for FICCI Flow, which is a 12,000 all-women-led organization, and I've been doing so for 4 years. So completely understand the need to sort of raise questions, again, why should boys have all the funds?
Good afternoon, everyone, or good morning. I'm actually quite excited to be here. I think I'm the only non-investor on this panel, but I'm happy to talk about Aavishkaar and what we do at Aavishkaar. So I'm going to just take a minute to explain Aavishkaar because we are a 2-decade-old organization working and building the entrepreneurial ecosystem, not just in India, but we've done that in Bangladesh, we've done that in Africa as well, East Africa. So the entire thinking behind, or the principles behind Aavishkaar, right, was built on, one is entrepreneurs can solve complex social problems. You need high-risk capital to scale the business. Impact is the outcome. And for all three to work, you need to take an ecosystem-based approach. So those were the 4 principles that Aavishkaar was built on. And today, as a group, we have 2 credit companies investing in microfinance borrowers, investing in MSMEs. Then we have Intellicap, which is a global consulting firm that works across the emerging economies. And we have Aavishkaar Capital, which I'm a part of. We've raised about 8 funds. We are $500 million in AUM today. We've invested in about 100+ companies, and each of the companies' impact in ESG has been very, very integral, and including gender as well. 30% of our companies are either led or co-founded by women. Today, I think we are the only fund in Asia, or we were the first fund in Asia to receive a 2x, flagship criteria or endorsement from the 2x flagship, which is looking at gender, not just from a founder perspective, but across the organization. And also as a fund, do you have gender, or are you measuring gender KPIs within the fund as well? Yeah, so we've not just invested in India, but in Bangladesh, Indonesia, and in East Africa. Very happy to be here and talk about why should boys have all the funds.
Hi everyone, I'm Ishani Chanana and I'm a partner and co-founder at Sarcha Advisors. It's a family office that my father and I manage together, and startups are a very important part of our capital allocation strategy. So we have over 50 startups in our portfolio, and we've participated in more than 20 follow-on rounds. Our investing approach is called Dil Se Investing, wherein we back people before numbers and values before valuation. We like to invest in founders that have a higher sense of purpose and want to create some sort of an impact. And I believe that this focus of ours has led us to support a diverse set of entrepreneurs, including some really amazing women. And today, 30% of our portfolio is run by women founders and co-founders. I just want to close by saying a quote from one of my idols, the late Ruth Bader Ginsburg, which is, "Women belong in all the places where decisions are being made." I hope that we as investors can play a part in empowering women reach those places. So very excited to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys, for this lovely introduction. So I want to begin this conversation talking about the funding illusion. Like I just mentioned in the introduction that women-led startups are receiving while they're delivering higher returns on their investment, they are getting half the funding. So if investors prioritize ROI, then why is the capital not flowing towards women-led startups? I mean, is this, how do you see this? And I would want Ntasha to take this question first.
So I think if you look at it, most of the entire investment ecosystem has primarily been driven by men so far, and it's a very interesting topic that you've named this. Why should men have all the fun? Because if you talk about the fun of building a business, or talk about the thrill of investing in something which is completely differentiated, it's unheard of, or like something disruptive in AI altogether. So why should men lead that? Especially, they're shaping the investment landscape, right? They outpace the number of women investors. And if you look at it, you've asked that why are women not getting so much funding? If you look at from the other side of it, why aren't there so many women investors investing? I think that's very important for us to note that. And if you look at senior leadership teams for most of the funds, it's primarily male-dominated, right? And the funny part is that it's a male-dominated room, which is sort of looking at investing and shaping, the VC ecosystem, investing almost $1 billion over there. And they're trying to assess, for most of the end customers, for most of the startups, is essentially a woman, because she's the one leading the household, she's the one leading finances, and they're trying to assess how this will fit for a women user. So you see that disparity over there, So So I think that's very important. And I think that the occupational sexism which is there for a lot of, which a lot of female founders face, especially being a woman, is that I'm sure most of the entrepreneurs get this: are they married? Do they have kids? So I think as a society, we need to move past that, that if I'm married or not married, if I'm doing something, it's irrespective of what my personal profile is. You'll never ask a male founder what his marital status is, So it's very important for us to remove this bias, and platforms like the She event, which we're doing right now with DIE, is to highlight and to bring forth more women entrepreneurs to connect with investors like ourselves and others who can build meaningful connections. Like one of the participants rightfully said, how do you build connections? I think it's through platforms like this you can build through meaningful connections. And I think at some point, if we have to create a ripple effect of how the investment ecosystem has to change its investing pattern and invest behind more women founders, we need to encourage more women investors as well, right? Because unless that happens, you're not going to see the trickle-down effect of more women being invested in, right? Especially as founders. So that's something which I just wanted to highlight, and yeah.
I wanted to understand one thing. Do you guys think it's mostly bias, or is this just a blind spot which is not being tackled well?
Honestly, I mean, Ntasha pointed out two great points, right? Like, one is that a lack of women being on the other side of the table, right? So now today, and I've been in rooms with, which are full of male investors, angel investors, and me being the only female investor out there, and I can see the bias playing, right? And maybe 99% of the times, maybe it's not even a conscious bias, it's an unconscious bias. So today, why do we need women on the other side of the table as investors? So today, if you're pitching a product to solve or disrupt the whole menopause situation, correct? Right? Most men in the room will not even understand the requirement to disrupt or the need for solving the problem for PCOS, or an app to sort of understand PCOS and the problems with it, right? And I've seen this play live. So if you don't understand it, you're not going to invest. Today, India has about 26,000 odd angel investors. 1.5% of them are women, 100. So in how many rooms are women who are going to be pitching? The chances are that, or the probability is that, there's going to be a female investor. It's only 1.5%, right? So that's a big bias. Also, I just feel, and this is a proven study by Harvard, right? Women get asked more preventive questions and men get asked promotional questions, right? Preventive questions are, how are you going to protect what you've managed to sort of scale? Promotion questions are, how are you going to expand? And there is a study that for every preventive question you get asked during your pitching, the chances of you raising funds sort of declines by a crazy million amount, right? So, ladies in the room, next time you get asked a preventive question during your pitch session, try and turn it around and give a promotional answer, right? Because even though your investor is not consciously biased about not investing in you, they actually want to do right about their LPs and investors and the money they're putting forward, right? So maybe it's not a conscious bias. But you have to be smart about it, right? So every time you feel they're sort of diverting and thinking, like, and asking you a preventive question, turn around and give a promotional answer. Be a little more aggressive. Show that, you sort of can capture that market. You can think big, right? We sort of get on the back foot and start giving a defensive answer, and that reduces our chances of getting further funding.
Adding on to what you just said, it says that the more VC, what you said, that the more VC women investors you have on board, the more funding will go towards women-led startups. So how do we break from this closed network influence and shift who controls the capital? What's the way forward there?
Yeah, actually, we've, and I've been working on this for 4 years at Fiki Flow. Over the time of 4 years, we've trained about 143 women to become angel investors, right? And I don't know if all of them will invest, but at least they'll sort of navigate and help others around invest money into women-led startups. So I think training, I personally run this program called I Am My Own Lakshmi, where I sort of teach women to sort of use their funds to invest. Because a lot of times, women are not told or not given the power to invest, even though we are earning. You know, how many in this room, I want a show of hands, I ask this question every time, how many invests their own money? Oh, wow, I am so happy. Yes, super, super. You know, but I've come across so many women who earn their money but are not investing. So many women who inherit and have access to money, family money, but have someone else investing for them. So if, you know, by training women to sort of make them understand and sort of take away that fear of investing, if we can do that, we'll have more women. And it's changing. So, you know, the future is bright. I'm very positive about it.
I think we need to see more representation of women investors. So events like these that bring together women investors together are very important, because the more of yourself you see out there, the more you're okay with doing that. So yeah, more role models, more representation.
So I feel, you know, having a woman representation among investors also brings sort of comfort to the entrepreneur who's pitching as well, right? It's the familiarity, and generally, I've seen a lot of women founders walk into pitch meetings very nervous. So having, you know, that, you know, your own kind at the table really sort of eases the whole process out. The other thing is, like, you know, we would have capacity building programs. I think the sector needs to change in general. It's not a fund problem or a person problem, right? So today we are part of forums like IVCA, India Venture Capital Association, where we are part of, you know, there is a ESG and impact committee or the council where we talk about such things. We want others to contribute. Taking up KPIs also helps, right? As a fund manager, understanding within the fund how are women represented, not just at the partner level, but across the levels. And what kind of, I mean, that sort of helps, right? You keep a track of that. You take up targets. Like we've taken up a target of 30% of our investments need to be in women-led businesses. So that's the target we have taken. So those kind of things actually help as well.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to say, I think if you're talking about what will drive more women to be investors, I think it has to be a sentiment change among the LPs as well. So I know that IFC is there, right? And they have a they're very prone towards investing behind women founders, but they have very few VC investments which they have done. Even for family offices, right? It's great that you're doing your fund. But even for family offices, for them to be able to digest that women-led fund is more than just an impact investment, right? I'm not an impact fund. So that's the first thing I need to clarify, that it's not an impact fund, though.
The fact that you need to clarify
Yeah.
is a problem, right?
Yeah.
The fact that people think that anything women are doing is either like impact or like
Yeah.
part-time, that needs to
Yeah.
change.
So that mindset needs to change, and I think it's a little bit shoulder to the men also. They also have to be more inclusive and especially trusting more women with the money. Like you said, women founders are much better in generating more revenue in terms of ROI than what a male founder would do. It's much more true for a women investor as well. I think the classic example is our mothers, you know.
Yeah.
Despite getting whatever they get to sort of run their household expenses, still they're able to manage and save money and invest in the best asset class, gold, which is hopefully going to touch 100 soon.
Taking off from that, I do have this question because you mentioned LPs. So I will pose this question to Ishani, and I want to understand that when you're investing in funds, how much attention do you pay to that these funds, how much investment are going into women-led startups? Is that a criteria that you look at before you're investing in a fund?
So I'm going to be really honest over here. We invest in startups directly. I think we can manage our money better than any fund does. So yeah, and as I mentioned, that 30% of our portfolio is run by women founders. And Over the last 2 years, we've made a conscious effort to back more women founders. That's not because, we don't want to see women as charity cases or impact. No, I just feel that women make very talented and good founders. So, I mean, yeah, we come on the cap table directly. We do our startup investments ourselves. We're not a part of any AIF for investing in startups. Venture debt is something that we do. But over there, I don't think we really have a choice to choose between a male or a female. There's a handful of venture debt funds in the country today. So it's more of a capital allocation, but startups is just done by ourselves.
Yeah.
So,
And
when
to you, I also have another question because you're making impact investments, and what we've also seen is we've seen a lot of women founders in consumer tech companies, in wellness, but we see very women-led businesses in B2B, in fintech. You've studied social finance, so help me understand that. How do you break from the mold, and what's the way there? Continuing with this, and since Aarti is also running a family office, she can also add on to this.
Yeah, sure. So just on the LP requirement, right? So what we've seen is that the development financial institutions like IFC, BII, they have very strict policies on, us investing in gender. They look at that very, very seriously. Not so much from the private family offices, all the others, but with ESG being a big focus right now, even you have Indian funds basically looking at these criteria right now. So it's sort of changing, but not changing very rapidly. So that's the thing. On social finance, sorry, your question was on why are women
Sectors, yeah,
less...
why are they, yeah, like, I mean, there are certain
B2B
sectors
and
where you
fintech.
see B2B fintech.
I think that's not true, actually. No, it's not. It's not. I think it's... Yeah, we've invested in EFL, which is led by Shilpa, right? She's... that's the highest investment we've made, 100 crores in a company. And she's built the entire business. She's built an MSME lending platform. So we were very impressed with the way she has built the company over the last, 10 odd years. So it's not true. I think it depends on women approaching the kind of, entrepreneurs that come to us as well. Yes, we do see a lot of women, working in, say, consumer, that sort of a thing, but there are players in the fintech space as well. I don't think...
Yeah, like, I do understand, but it's just like when you see a lot of success stories, I mean, definitely Upasna Thakur was with MobiQuick going for its IPO. It's a huge milestone. Definitely that's there, but when we are even talking about unicorns in this space, right? Only 16% of women-led startups, have turned unicorn. So is it also because early stage, when we're talking about women being risk-averse towards asking for that capital, or when they're pitching in front of the investors, does that also play a role for them to really take the company on that scale very quickly?
There is no doubt that capital is not deep enough for women-led startups, right? While there might be still capital at an early stage, follow-on rounds for women to raise capital is even more difficult, right? And a lot of times, and these are all true stories, they might sound like old wives' tales, but they're all true stories where women founders have been asked to either get their husband on board as a co-founder or a male co-founder, to sort of raise further rounds. And they're not just true stories from India. This happens worldwide. I know of women founders in America who have faced similar problem, right? With a man and a woman in their first company could manage raising funds, but a woman and a woman are not able to raise funds. They've been asked to get a male co-founder. I've had a startup in my portfolio. She had to onboard her husband as a co-founder for her to sort of make way through. So these are all true stories. So capital is not deep enough in India in general.
But innovation is.
Innovation is, definitely, right? But we need more funds at a later stage. There are still funds available for women. Also, there are, you have to understand, like, how many times do women get second chances? You know, a startup fails, a male co-founder fails, he can start one immediately. I don't think I've rarely heard of a woman starting up again and raising funds.
To that, I just had a chat. I did a story with a Deconstruct founder, Malini Adapureddy. She was actually, while Deconstruct was going through a major funding crunch, they had zero resources. She was delivering her child at that point of time. A year down the line, she has turned her company profitable. And I was just like, because it's like with women founders, there are a lot of other responsibilities, so many questions to be asked. So how do we make it as an ecosystem? A lot of responsibilities that may not be on male founders' head, women do go through a lot. How do we make sure that just make it a little easier for them?
You know, we have to be okay with the fact that as a gender, it's a different gender. Yeah. We need a different yardstick, right? And we want women founders because of that uniqueness. We don't, at least I'm looking to invest into a company because of the unique perspective a different gender brings on table, right? If I ask a woman to start behaving like a man, right, then what's the use of it, right? So I think the entire ecosystem needs to understand this. You know, if you can't expect her to sort of take care of the house, you know, and be present at the same time 100%. So care as a whole segment, as an economy, needs to be solved for, and men need to step up too, right? Like, I see a lot of them on their phones right now because it's not a topic which interests them, I'm sorry, but like, you know, that's true. If you want, by 2030, the amazing figure, Aishwarya, you quoted for India to grow that much, we need 50% of the population to sort of contribute to it as well.
And as, just to add to that, right? Sorry, no, just to add to that, I think as investors, right, we need to be conscious as well. We need to push the entrepreneurs. I can give you an example where, you know, this business was run by or was co-founded by a woman, right? And she was doing all the work, and she had excellent business acumen. She connected with the farmers really well. She was able to generate, you know, business, build those partnerships. But when it came to pitching of the business or talking to investors, her husband, both shared equal responsibility. But we saw that, you know, that there was a lot of capability. It just was the hesitation for her to, you know, be in front, right? So as a board member, we encouraged her to become the CEO of the company. And she actually led it to, you know, success. It was one of the largest exporter of pomegranate and banana in the country. So that's an example. So as investors as well, we need to push the entrepreneurs and understand their strengths and push them accordingly forward.
Mentoring is a big aspect.
I was just going to talk about that. So I feel that one of the things that why most women are not being able to get funding, or in general, if a founder is not being able to get funding, is because they lack that, they're new to the ecosystem, right? They lack the connects, right? You would not have the network to even be able to talk to some other fellow founder, you know, who would give you some candid feedback, or know really what's trending in the ecosystem, what's not. I think being in the ecosystem for almost a decade, we've seen various trends of what's worked in fintech, what's worked in D2C and others, right? But someone who's just stepping in from the outside, and you know, you as a founder, you're so much in love with what you're doing that you sort of get blindsided with what the ecosystem has already seen in that space altogether. And I try to do this whenever I'm with a founder. I try to give some feedback, or I try to give what we're looking at in that particular sector of what they're building, you know, and how they're particularly trying to tackle that particular problem statement or building something around it. To be able to give cues to the founder, boss, this is what's trending in the ecosystem. Are you building something on those lines, or are you like in a more competitive red, what do you say, blue ocean, red ocean? Are you in a red ocean of already too many Me Toos in the same, trying to capture the same thing, people who've already got funding? I mean to say you'll get some 2-3 people who'll get, or 3-4 startups who'll get funding in the same space, but you can't expect some 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th person to get funding in the same space, you know? Especially as funding gets challenging, they've had the first mover advantage, the traction is much higher, right? You can't say that he's bullshit and I'm amazing. So I think we've realized this, having been in the ecosystem for so long. And I have a platform which is different from our fund. It's called Venture Gurukul. It's a equity-free platform where you connect with mentors who are able to give you some candid feedback so that you're able to reach that inflection point of that product market fit, which is the most crucial for any founder. And trust me, you might not get it right the first time, third time, or whatever, but you need to be still at it. And secondly, stop being with the blinders, what I'm doing is right, You need to be more receptive about others who are telling you, boss, this has not worked, and this is not what we're looking to fund at. We see this white space, and don't go by an investor. You need to go and study the market for yourself. And trust me, you are much well positioned to understand what the market is. But don't be with those blinders, that this is what it is, and I love what I'm doing, and I'm not going to pivot. Then you might as well learn how to be bootstrapped. So we are relaunching our Venture Gurukul platform essentially for founders like these who can engage with different mentors and get such candid feedback of what's trending in the ecosystem.
So while venture capital is one part of it, how do we unlock other streams, whether it's debt financing, whether it's, grants, how do we unlock these potentials? How do you guys view that space?
Someone in public policy would be better to answer that about grants.
What other streams of capital could, open up to ensure that we are scaling up women-led startups?
I mean, the only way we look at startups is we provide them capital, and the kind of mentorship that we provide to them doesn't come with any cost. I know this isn't an answer to your question, but what I'm trying to say here is that we as investors, our family office tries to be there for our founders whenever they need us. And we try to be a friend to our founders. So you can reach us at 11 o'clock in the night and we're going to be there for you. And I think I was having a conversation with one of my female founders a day before yesterday. And she said that, Ishani, I think nobody talks about moral support in the ecosystem. She says that sometimes we're so down that we just need an investor to tell us that, it's going to be okay, or that we're there with you. So this is not a monetary support, so to say, the mentorship or the support, but it's something that does matter to the female founders a lot. And also female founders don't speak up about what they face. So in the last 3 days, I've spoken with at least 10 of my female founders. And these sentiments have been echoed by them that, of course, capital is extraordinarily important. You need to write checks. But there is something that goes beyond capital, which is just to be there for your founders and be a friend. But yeah, nothing on a monetary side.
In terms of grants, I think I just want to say out there, because we've helped a lot of women founders apply for them at Flow. And there are a lot of options, both at the state and center level of the government. A lot of grants are available. You just need to sort of Google it out or search for them. Or ask ChatGPT, right? The problem is not that the lack of grants being there. The problem is the belief that you'll get it. A lot of times women don't even apply thinking, oh, maybe I don't qualify for it. Doesn't matter. What is the worst which will happen if you apply? You won't get it, right? Anyways, you're not getting it if you don't apply. So might as well apply everywhere, right? In terms of debt financing, I think there is a
revenue-based financing.
The problem is a lot of women lack documentation in their name, right? In terms of collateral, in terms of funding, funds in their name and stuff like that. And that's why they sort of miss out on this whole credit gap also, which exists for women-led startups. But that's again something which as a society we need to solve for, right? Get more money in women's names.
One more thing, if you're looking for initial capital, best is to always tap your own network, your friends, family network. They are the ones who know you best since they've known you for the longest time. And if they believe in your skills and your capability, they will back you. And you really need to let go of the hesitation and just have a chat with them. And more than asking for funding, you should be able to sell your vision, what your vision is, right? And if you're able to do that, funding will come irrespective. So don't go with, I need money. No, you should go with, this is my vision. Do you want to be part of this story? And that's my cue to all the founders, right? Always start with a really larger than life vision, you know, not just limited to, I want to do this in this plus this, you know, some really, really small SOM. No, it should be about disrupting the entire finance ecosystem, you know, that's how broad your vision should be. And if you don't start out that big, you know, you're the one who's missing out on raising $1 billion, really.
Say it to yourself every single day.
I think be clear on that vision, because it takes time to get that vision, and just don't be limited, I'm going to do X and X and X and some very small X, right? No, just think way larger. That's what will help you get the moolah.
We tell our founders to have moonshots. So for example, there is a company that's building walk-to-work jobs, basically. So we tell our founder that 1 million walk-to-work jobs. Have that higher moonshot, you know, because you have that kind of a vision, you will automatically work towards it. You're, in a way, inverting the equation, right?
So I'll tell you this. So I have great inroads in China, and I know the Alibaba team very well, which invested in Paytm. They were the early investors in Paytm. So I asked them that, what is it that motivated you to invest behind Paytm? What was the reason? He's like, we just love their vision. They wanted to bank the unbanked in India, which was a large market opportunity. He did not go into, I want to build a wallet or do financials. No, that was what his vision was. It was just a very clear line, very impactful. And that's like not $1 billion, $1 trillion opportunity, right?
Sorry, just on the different pools of capital, there are multiple pools available. I think Goldman Sachs runs a very wonderful program for women entrepreneurs. I think you should look it up. They they provide the initial seed capital, and they also help you think about how to build your business. So that's a great program to be a part of. We also run a program, rather a platform called Sankalp Forum, where every year we invite entrepreneurs who have a business idea and who want to scale that business idea, innovative business idea. So that's the other option. It happens in October every year. So all the entrepreneurs are welcome to apply for that. And it's an entire process of, mentorship, accelerator combined, and at the end of it, you win a prize money. There are various debt instruments available. In fact, the government itself is thinking about the social stock exchange, right? Now, only not-for-profits are listed, but the government is trying to also list for-profit companies. So that would be another set of capital that will be available. There are multiple companies offering debt capital. You have Will Grow that offers grant plus debt type, Caspian. There are multiple organizations. You just have to connect.
Okay, I think we are tight on time. But before I end this, no elaborate statements. One bold move we need to make this year. A quick answer. One bold move that the ecosystem needs to make this year.
Just back more women entrepreneurs, yeah.
Just back more women entrepreneurs.
Have more women at the investor table.
Get girls to have more fun and funds.
Okay. Ntasha.
That's a tough one. I think, yeah, it would be to dress yourself and really be your own self and be out there and not be really judged for who you are, what you wear or anything else, but for your idea, your vision, and that's what I would say.
All right, thank you so much, guys. Bushra, should I say that or will you take this forward now?
No, it's time. Once we break for lunch, space will be open. You can please network and interact. Okay, go ahead. We'll just take one question. We are really tight on time. Okay.
So, hi, my name is Sridhi. I help people start the skincare brand from research to production of baby end-to-end. My question is, as the data said that there's only 1.5% of the VCs are female. So the challenge is also for the people on the other side, like how do we get to know about this 1.5%? Because if I start looking on Google, I start looking on network, I would get to know about the top 10%, 20%, 30%, 50%, 70%. But this 1.5%, finding them here, and Ty has done such a wonderful job to bring you all experienced and capable VCs here. But how do we even get to know about you and get to connect with you? So is there a forum? Are you guys doing some budding? Or like, we got to know about it now that it is there, but for people who are not in this room, what about there? There's so many other women aspirants, founders there. So is there something that you guys are thinking about? It's already in... Women's Investors Club? Not a bad idea, but I think LinkedIn is a great place, yeah. You know, like get to. I mean, I've had so many women connect to me, and we've sort of met on LinkedIn. So I know that, like, you know, there are platforms like Inc. and Your Story and all, which puts up these lists, and then there are all these things which are coming up. So personally, I feel LinkedIn is a great space to sort of this thing. And again, being in such rooms, right? Like you have to make the effort to sort of be in such rooms. That's the honest answer to this. Also, network when you're not raising funds. Really, that's one advice. Women, we are so caught up in everything. We actually just go by tuck, ye kaam karna hai. So we get on to networking also when we need something, right? The worst time to network is when you need something from the other person.
Thank you. Thank you so much, all the speakers. Aishwarya, please stay back. We'll take a group picture. We also have a token to give to all of you.